Well, it's the final day of MLG Overwatch in Vegas. I'm joined right now by Slasher, who is here with us on a very, very freelance basis. Slasher, you have been a vocal opponent, I think, of so much in the Overwatch community recently, but also spend a great deal of time playing the game and talking to people. And I feel like it'd be good to get sort of your insight and thought process on so much of the stuff that's happening right now. So, first off, maybe you can, for people that haven't been following Overwatch Esports, kind of give an update on where we stand.
It's good to see you, Travis. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've been on camera together doing a thing.
We did Esports and Chill like less than a year ago.
Yeah, but that's not really a legitimate thing. This is cool. Cool to be back with you on that very freelance basis. So MLG Vegas is probably the last major event for the Overwatch circuit. You had IEM
Gungi.
Gungi. Thank you. I know you've been covering that definitely intently over the weekend, right, Travis? That just finished with the top European and Korean teams. MLG will be finishing with all the top American teams, and there's some Chinese tournaments going on over in that region. That will all be kind of closing down for the holidays and for the new year.
I mean, you called this a circuit. Is it actually a circuit, or are these just sort of incidental, occasional events?
No, this is a pretty open format. This is a new esport because Overwatch only came out officially at the beginning of the year. And I mean, it's not as well established as like the previous StarCraft 2 circuit for Blizzard, or maybe like the Dota or Counter Strike way. It is an open format. It does seem like Blizzard is testing out every individual different producer and league operator to run one event and put on the best possible showcase that they can, and kind of show Blizzard like what they can do to put on a good event for Overwatch.
So they're kind of just testing everybody out for an Overwatch perspective.
I mean, the first event was run by ESL Gamescom. The second event was run by Turner and E League. You have now MLG and Vegas as the first big one. You had DreamHack run there at Summer as the first major tournament that they're doing. ESL is now coming back to do some of the events. And you have NGE, which is a white label production out of California, doing the next big major $100,000 Overwatch tournament. So it does, and then you just had MSI actually in the UK, which was a complete disaster. But then you see the differences between each of the different orgs and how they have produced these events for the players and the production, and be able to test the waters. I actually kind of like this approach. See which one just come out the best.
You know, it seems to me like every single team org in the world is now trying to get an Overwatch team, which is somewhat. I mean, I guess it shows a lot of faith in Blizzard because the game right now is not sitting up there. You know, with there's a huge surge for CS:GO esports right around the time like we saw viewership just skyrocket. We haven't seen that similar uptick in Overwatch yet, but it's interesting that so many orgs are all scrambling for this. Is it all just because of the league?
I mean, the league is a big part of it. It has been a catalyst of a lot of interest from outside of the endemic sponsorships and a lot of the bigger teams within. But I will say that as much as I give critique to Overwatch, I mean, I do have to give it a lot of credit in that I do believe the tier 1 teams, not tier 4 Kelby, that are entering the space and all getting teams, I think is an honest approach to how big the game is. Not necessarily just because the developer, Blizzard, is going to push the hell out of it, and that's going to help the teams. I think the game's actually been pretty solid. It's been top 5 on Twitch every single month since release in terms of total hours streamed. Maybe not all of that is considered esports, but it is still a multiplayer competitive game. I think top 5, top 6 on Twitch is pretty.
I mean, Heroes is oftentimes top 5, top 6 on Twitch.
No, come on, man.
We'll go back. We'll go back and look.
It is not even close. As someone who looked at the data, I mean, you got League, you got Dota, you got Counter Strike. That's usually been top 3, and then you have things like Minecraft and WoW that are rotating, and Hearthstone actually is the other big one. So that being on that top 5, 6 leaderboard, I think is pretty significant. The tournaments, the big tournaments, have gotten 40, 50, 60K, which I think is respectable coming out of the gate. Even though esports is quite much bigger now, I think it's not bad.
What is this one getting?
Significantly less than what I just mentioned.
Not on as many platforms, I guess is one way to put it.
Not on as many platforms. I mean, this is also part of Overwatch is very, I think, unique in telling the story of the current esports landscape. I mean, you have here at this event, MLG Vegas, with MLG exclusively streaming on their website, partnering with YouTube to be the other streaming base, and then both of them cutting Twitch out entirely. This is also after MLG has been acquired by Activision Blizzard. Now the event is, things have to be signed off on like a higher level, even though MLG looks to have autonomy on what they could do here and the decisions that they can make. That had to be like a larger effort decision of to not have Twitch be broadcasting its event. And yes, that has, due to Overwatch really having a strong within Twitch. If it's not on Twitch, it's not going to have a lot of viewership. Call of Duty is doing pretty good right now on YouTube and MLG because the Call of Duty community is used to watching on these platforms. Overwatch community is not used to watching anything but Twitch. So if it's not going to be on Twitch, there are, things to think about.
Yeah. What do we know about this league officially? I mean, like, what's out there? Because this was my surprise kind of from BlizzCon was there just seemed like there wasn't any data.
Officially, there is just going to be a league, which is aimed to be in quarter 3 of 2017. It will have a local city component towards it where teams and orgs will be associated with local teams.
Do we know if they're they're based out of there? Like, if Cloud9 is in San Francisco, are they, like, in San Francisco physically?
This is the official versus unofficial.
The rumors, yeah, I don't know.
Rumored content. Officially, no. There is nothing other than all of the teams were invited to talk at BlizzCon and discuss and hear more out from Blizzard and be able to discuss the thing. Everything else is the
rumor mill.
The rumor mill. Yeah, Blizzard's not really released a whole lot of details on what they're doing. Now, do you want to talk about that?
Actually, I want to talk about your Twitter because I'm kind of curious about this. Okay, so you and I have had comment discussion off of camera about this, but you seem very upset about Overwatch right now. It's just angry tweet after angry tweet. I see. It sounds like you play a lot of this. So, kind of, where do you stand on so much of this stuff? And honestly, like, what are your feelings?
Yeah. So let's not talk about all the cool, important league things. Let's go directly to tweets because that's the best way.
I mean, people are gonna like. This is what you've become known for in this community, right? Like, if people are watching this interview, they want to know about that.
I've been tweeting for a year. If this is what I'm known for, I've done a pretty decent job. Coming back after all.
And also, apparently, for having a bad microphone. I don't listen to your casting, but all the comments on our YouTube channel were like, "Wow, Slasher sounds completely different whenever he has a real microphone."
You know what? I mean, I'm known for tech issues, right? Okay, yeah. That has not changed over the years. Okay, so I guess for those of you who don't know, yeah, I've been away from the spotlight. I would say for the last year or so due to a variety of things I don't want to talk about very much. And with that, the release of Overwatch coming out at the same time, I was able to play the game since the very first day of closed beta. And I really do play a lot. Like, I have several thousands of hours in Overwatch. I'm talking 4,000 to 5,000 hours in competitive mode and like all 3 seasons, plus in scrims, plus in the beta. And, because of that, I feel like I have some interesting perspective. Yes. On things because I consider it as I'm a player. Yeah. I'm not just talking as like a journalist or as a caster or even as a personality. I'm talking as someone who has played a lot of this game at a very high level and at a very deep level, discussing it and talking about it. I'm not just voicing my opinion, very opinionated thoughts without much basis. I really am basing it on personal experience that I have of playing a game, because most of what you hear from pundits like yourself over here and from most personalities, while they may have deep connections to the game, very rarely and few of those people have the direct knowledge from playing the game and understanding the game at a deep level without having to talk to a pro player or one of very few pro analysts. And it is mostly kind of like...
So, but here's my question is why, like, what is your true opinion on everything that's going on right now? Because from looking at your Twitter, it would seem like the sky is falling. This is what's weird, is that your Twitter makes it always look like everything's going to hell. But then whenever Kelby May, our mutual friend, starts tweeting about, or challenges you, I think, or you challenged him, whatever, on where like how strong of an esport Overwatch is right now, you very quickly defend it. So I am curious to learn from you, like what your honest opinion is on everything that's going on in Overwatch right now. Like, how does the esport stand?
I mean, look, at a very base level, with all me playing, I really like the game. I really like the scene. I love what Blizzard has done. They've created a great game. I argued with other people earlier today that I thought it really deserved like Game of the Year, even compared to like other single player games like on the new Uncharted, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's a great game. What the base that they've done is fantastic. So all of my like criticisms are at a base level. Everything is pretty good. Even in general, the esports and the league and like what things have been announced and the progress of Overwatch is pretty solid.
Okay.
But they don't need to hear the positives of how great they're doing and how much of a great world that they've built with great characters and new heroes and
Well,
new.
no, but it's true. Like everybody looks at your Twitter and thinks that the world is ending in Overwatch esports, right?
And that is okay. Because I'd rather people focus on the real issues that do exist in this scene instead of continuing to tell ourselves how great everything is and how great we've done to make things good when there are large issues to be made at the core of why things can go wrong. And a lot of that does come from direction from Blizzard because they have such control over this IP and that they've shown that they want to have more control over this IP, similar to Riot, rather than like the Valve approach of having kind of like letting everyone else do what they want. But even though Counter-Strike and Dota are handled differently within Valve, it's still a similar approach of how they want to do things. Blizzard's always been kind of in the middle between Riot and Valve over the years, and now this seems to be a little bit more tied into the league, controlling of how they want to present their game to the competitive gaming audience. So I don't feel like they've done the best job since release of tying in the esports side to their public mainstream side. You go to the Overwatch subreddit right now, there's no esports on the front page. There's nothing about MLG this weekend. There's nothing about IEM. And 23 out of 25 posts are played the game, then the other two are like art. And there is a huge disconnect between the casual viewer of Overwatch and the esports viewer of Overwatch, which if Blizzard wants this to be a huge esport that it is, a lot of the things that they talk about that are within the game and how the game is structured and how they promote the esports product are misaligned, in my opinion. And because I care so much about the community, because I really like the game, I get really frustrated more often than not, especially because I want to speak for the players. For the most of it, they are the ones that are really creating the scene. Of course, there are
Pro players, you mean?
yeah, the pro players. I want all of their things to succeed, but because of that, I have a very opinionated way of the way I think. I mean, because even in terms of gameplay issues, one hero limit was a gigantic issue between Blizzard, who created Overwatch to have you be able to choose whatever hero you want, and for the entire time, even through their official accounts of the designers and social media, hero switching was a core concept of.
Then they fixed it.
But it was a core concept of the game that the devs wanted, and Jeff Kaplan and crew wanted to put on the game.
And they were willing to change a core concept.
But only after massive outcry, and then video evidence of it going incredibly awry during a tournament.
Okay. Do you have faith that Blizzard can fix this stuff?
Yeah, totally. Of course they can. They've done a pretty solid job so far. There's just a long way to go, and they have to be, knowledgeable. I think of the type of rule set they're putting out there. They have to be aware of the other esports and the current, year 2016. They can't just ignore everything else because they're just doing their own thing.
So can I headline this interview? Slasher has faith Blizzard can fix this, so that they've done a pretty good job so far.
They can fix it. They've done pretty solid job. Okay,
now we're downgrading to solid.
We are downgrading to solid, yes.
Very good. Slasher, is there anything you want to say out there to any of the esports fans or Blizzard people that will be watching this because they like me and they like my content, just like that guy there that just said he loves me as he was walking by?
Yeah, you compare this interview of Travis interviewing me and then me interviewing players, and you decide what do you think about Overwatch content.
Now, I want to ask you, there's been so much conversation about, like the meta and for tanks, and then sometimes you get two healers. And I personally think that this is kind of a thing. And so I was curious from your perspective what. Yeah, people will watch this interview and watch yours, and then they'll know who the king interviewer is. You can check out the rest of our coverage of all things esports here at Yahoo Esports.